Hey everybody, it's Jim from Cigars and Other Dude Stuff. Today I'm reviewing the Perez Carrillo Endure cigar. Brand new cigar, actually is out in February, just now in April becoming readily available. You can get it even online in some places that I was looking at. I want to point out what a nice looking cigar this is. Got the nice orange band on it, and the band has the same design that carries over from the other cigars in the Perez Carrillo line. Also has kind of a translucent paper covering on it there, so very nice. Also says made from Miraflores, Cameroon, and that's something we're going to talk about. But first, I just want to give you an update on EP Carrillo's name. The actual name of the company now is Casa Carrillo, or if you're saying in Spanish, Casa Carrillo. It was EPC Cigars back in 2009, and then it became EP Carrillo. Now it's Casa Carrillo, and it matches the name of their factory, which was renamed, I think, last year in the Dominican Republic to be Casa Carrillo as well. So kind of a rebranding, nothing earth-shattering. But back to Cameroon tobacco. More appropriately, Cameroon tobacco would be called African Sumatra because it was Sumatra or Indonesian tobacco seeds that were brought to Cameroon way back, I think, in 1900. And depending on who you ask, the Miraflores family or anybody else, it was either Dutch settlers who brought Sumatra tobacco to Cameroon, or it was Ernest Miraflores who did it. In any case, Cameroon tobacco, as we know it, is really only grown in Cameroon now. There is Sumatra tobacco and there's Indonesian tobacco, which are similar, but according to the real cigar experts, they say the Cameroon tobacco grown in Cameroon has quite a different flavor profile and characteristics than the ones grown in Sumatra and Indonesia. The name Endure comes from the fact that the Miraflores family actually saved Cameroon tobacco from extinction back in the 90s. And the story of that is the governance of Cameroon, I think, was split between Dutch and French or something like that. And it so happened that the French had jurisdiction over where the Cameroon tobacco was grown. So they formed a group and they called it CETA. I don't know what it stands for, it's all in French, but SEITA. They basically handled the Cameroon tobacco, the management, growing of it, and so forth. And they were a very corrupt organization. They managed to get everybody mad. They got the customers mad as they were price fixing. They got the farmers mad because they were trying to chisel them. And the whole thing fell apart. And by 1993, there was no Cameroon tobacco being grown at all. Enter the Miraflores family, Rick Miraflores in particular, and he went to Cameroon and brokered a deal to take over the management of the Cameroon tobacco growing. And he formed an organization himself, and that was a co-op between the Miraflores family as the distributors of it and the local growers. And that got Cameroon tobacco back in the fields and growing and doing very well as of today. So it's an interesting story. Cameroon tobacco is in itself interesting because it is a very fragile leaf and it's smaller than an average tobacco leaf. So you don't see it. This is a Toro size, about 52 by 6.5, I think. And you don't see much cigars bigger than this that use it. You will see it in the Arturo Fuente Don Carlos uses Miraflores Cameroon, as does some of the Hemingway cigars. And also Oliva uses it in the Series G. And the Nub Cameroon is probably the biggest circumference that you'll see Cameroon tobacco in, but it's a very short cigar, as you know. Oh, there are some limitations to the Cameroon tobacco. The Endure only comes in two sizes, Toro and Robusto. Another interesting thing about Cameroon before we move on is you can't have Maduro in Cameroon. So if you see a Maduro, like Series G, for example, has a Maduro version, the Oliva Series G, that isn't Cameroon tobacco. It's a different kind of tobacco leaf that they make into a Maduro. Enough of that stuff. Let me get this lit up and we'll smoke her up and tell you how it went. All right, I am back smoking this EP Carrillo Endure. And I gotta say, it's a darn good cigar. I like it, but don't get settled too comfy in your chair to smoke it, because man, it burns fast. I could almost see it burning down. It was that fast. I was getting settled in and listening to a couple tunes, and they were maybe 3 or 4 minutes long, and I'm going, I'm 8 minutes into this thing, and it's over halfway gone. And I took some pictures of it to show you. I think that the longest ash, the one I'm showing you right now, is at the 19-minute mark. So good cigar, but man, it burns fast. Construction wise, been perfect. I think one or two relights at most. The ash, as you can see, got very, very long on it. I also took a picture, a close-up of the tooth. Cameroon tobacco is interesting because I know you're familiar with what toothy tobacco is, and you notice that especially on, I think, the Series G, the Oliva Cameroon, is very toothy when you touch the tobacco, the wrapper itself. But this doesn't really feel that way. It feels pretty smooth. But I took some pictures of the ash because you can see the little oil pockets, the tooth, and they are prevalent in the ash. They are really there. So they're real tiny, a real fine tooth. Flavor profile, it's pretty spicy to start out with, and it kind of stays that way, maybe down to the 3/4 mark. But it's a nice spice. It's not quite a baking spice. It isn't quite that sweet, but it's very nice, very distinctive kind of spice. And there's a nuts undertone. There's a little bit of a floral undertone to it, and a tiny bit of cedar, but very pleasant. I think the idea that they were getting at with this cigar, at least from smoking it, is they were really trying to showcase a Cameroon wrapper on it, and I think it was very successful in doing that. Very, very good flavor profile. I'm going to overlook the fast burn on this and give this a 9 out of 10. It's a little bit of a pricey cigar. They're running about 18 or 19 bucks. I think the list price actually on the Toro was 20. I got it for $1 or so less than that, but you're not going to get many deals on it. But if you want to splurge a little bit and try the new EP Carrillo Endure, it's worth a try. All right, I will see you from Cigars and Other Dude Stuff.